Hi there and welcome. It's always a pleasure to share intriguing stories and tidbits from history with you. Whether you're here for a history lesson, a linguistic curiosity, or simply to spend a few minutes learning something new, you're in the right place. Let's have a look. Hi there and welcome to this day in history for November 26th. November 26th is the 330th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 331st in leap years, with 35 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is orange, and spoiler alert, it's mostly about the fruit. Orange can be a noun or an adjective. As a noun, orange might be the name of a fruit with a tough, bright orange rind and juicy interior segments. I'd hold one up for you, but all I have are some raggedy old imperfect grapefruits. They're related, but not quite the same. So pretend there's an orange here. The orange comes from a tree, Citrus aurantium, or aurantium, and that would be the bitter orange, and Citrus sinensis is the sweet orange. Orange might also be the name of a color between red and yellow, which resembles the color of the aforementioned fruit. As an adjective, orange means relating to or having the color orange, like these orange beads. Now, often, in fact, probably usually, when I'm giving you the history of a word, I start with the most recent use and trace it back to the beginning. But in this case, it actually feels easier and more sensible to begin at the beginning and follow it to now. So the word comes to us originally from Sanskrit, naranga, where it meant orange tree. From there, the word made its way, along with the oranges themselves, to Persian, and then Arabic, where the G sound became a J sound, from naranga to naranja. In Venice, they called it naranza, and the rest of Italy called it narancia, and then arancia. Since we're talking about an orange tree, we can see why medieval Latin called it pomum de orange, which indicates that they knew that the orange was a fruit, but they called it an apple from the orange tree. Pomum de orange. From there, we move on into France, where we begin to have an actual date range. The French call this an orange from the time of the 1100s, and then to English in the 1300s as orange, the fruit of an orange tree. We don't see the word orange in reference to the color until the 1510s, and the color was definitely named after the fruit. Before the word orange came to English to be used as the name of a color, they would refer to something of this color as yellow-red. Now, before we wrap this word up, I want to mention that the word orange has no perfect rhyme in the English language. The first recorded use of the word orange as a color name in English dates to the 1500s, after the fruit was introduced to Europe. Orange. The word orange was suggested by YouTube viewer at Dan LeVay 5657. Thanks, Dan. And if you have a word you'd like to see in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. Sometimes it seems to take a while to get to them, but we will get it on the list and talk about it eventually. And with that, as I read this in 2024, November 26th falls on a Tuesday. That's the day that this airs. So as you watch it, it'll be day after tomorrow. Thursday, the 28th, will be Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is observed in the United States as a national holiday on the fourth Thursday in November, and while it's been that way for a good while now, it hasn't always been so. Without going through all the iterations of Thanksgiving Day declarations, because every few presidents would issue one until the date was set, we will talk about one that applies to us at the moment. And I'm talking here about Thanksgiving Day in America, as I recognize that other countries may also recognize a Thanksgiving Day, and those might be on different days. So, in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared that November 26th should be a National Thanksgiving Day, and that going forward, Thanksgiving Day was to be celebrated on the last Thursday of November each year. People marked their calendars and planned accordingly. In 1939, though, Franklin D. Roosevelt got the idea that if they could just move Thanksgiving a week earlier, that would give people an extra week of Christmas shopping. And so, in an effort to boost the economy, he moved the holiday a week earlier. Okay, but a lot of people, particularly those who had planned around Thanksgiving being the last Thursday in November, felt this had been sprung on them. They weren't ready. They didn't like it. The football games that play on Thanksgiving Day, for instance, those schedules are arranged months in advance, and they can't just be changed at the flick of the switch or the click of a pen. Some took to calling this week earlier Thanksgiving Franksgiving, combining Franklin with Thanksgiving. So, of course, the wheels of progress grind slowly sometimes, so it took a couple of years for Congress to approve, but in late 1941, President Roosevelt signed a proclamation to set Thanksgiving as the fourth Thursday in November, which is when we celebrate Thanksgiving now, which, as I read this, is day after tomorrow, fourth Thursday in November. This is the birthday of a man named William Griffith Wilson, more commonly known as Bill W. He was born on November 26, 1895 in East Dorset, Vermont. After serving as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army during World War I, he pursued a career as a stockbroker. However, his life was profoundly affected by alcoholism, leading to significant personal and professional challenges. In 1935, he co-founded Alcoholics Anonymous with Dr. Bob Smith in Akron, Ohio. This fellowship introduced a 12-step program aimed at helping individuals achieve and maintain sobriety. Wilson's own journey to sobriety began on December 11, 1934, when he remained abstinent from alcohol until his death. Beyond his work in AA, Wilson explored various treatments for alcoholism and also delved into spiritualism, seeking deeper understanding and methods to aid recovery. In 1955, Wilson transferred leadership of AA to a board of trustees, ensuring the organization's continuity. He passed away on January 24, 1971, at the age of 75. In recognition of his contributions, Time magazine included him in its 1999 list of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. AA's pert near everywhere, and if you have a drinking problem, you can likely find a group near you by visiting AA online at aa.org and look for the AA Near You locator. I've placed a link in the description to that page. And if you happen to be a family, friend, or significant other of someone who has a drinking problem, I recommend Al-Anon. There's a link in the description for that too. These two organizations have helped countless millions, possibly billions by now, since their respective formations. Happy heavenly birthday, Bill Wilson. This is the birthday of American-Canadian singer and actor Robert Goulet, born November 26, 1933, in Lawrence, Massachusetts. His parents were French-Canadian, and when his father passed away in the mid-1940s, his mother moved the family back to Canada, where he attended the Victoria School of the Arts and the Royal Conservatory of Music. He's renowned for his rich baritone voice and charismatic presence on stage and screen. His breakthrough role was that of Sir Lancelot in the Broadway music Camelot in 1960, where he performed along Richard Burton and Julie Andrews. The song If Ever I Would Leave You came to be his signature song. Many roles on stage, film, and television would follow, along with Grammy, Emmy, and Tony Awards over the course of his nearly 6-decade career. Robert Goulet lived to the age of 73. And, of course, whenever I hear the name of Robert Goulet, I think of this song, If Ever I Would Leave You. The song was one of 20 written for the musical Camelot by Frederick Loewe and Alan J. Lerner. Camelot being a story based on a fantasy series by T.H. White about King Arthur, the once and future king. The musical's themes cover love, honor, betrayal, and the eventual unraveling of Arthur's dreams. Been a good while since I've watched the movie, but as I recall, Arthur does become king and Guinevere his queen. Some chemistry boils up between Guinevere and Lancelot, though. Romantic sparks fly whenever those two are in proximity to each other, but their love is forbidden. She's the queen, for crying out loud, and he's the king's right-hand man. At this point in the story, she has so far remained faithful to Arthur. Lancelot sings If Ever I Would Leave You as an expression or a reflection of his devotion to Guinevere. He mentions the 4 seasons, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, in the song, which also represent the seasons of one's life. Stages of youth, growing and maturing, and then going into old age. It's a moving declaration of love, whether you've simply heard the song or seen it in the movie or the play. If Ever I Would Leave You by Robert Goulet. Link in the description. As we wrap up, I want to thank you for joining me on this exploration. If you've enjoyed today's content, let me know about it. Share your thoughts in the comment section. And by the way, I forgot to mention up there earlier that oranges were most likely native to northern India and made their way around the world, traveler by traveler. Once seafarers figured out that citrus fruits would prevent scurvy, they made sure to include such fruits in their provisions and planted them just about everywhere they went. So, shout out to the ancient explorers and sailors. And until next time, keep curious, stay kind, and I'll see you again soon. Yep, that's it. So pretend there's an orange here. The orange comes to us from the tree Citrus aurantium. Okay, put that to sleep. Good night, dear. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That playlist lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page. It's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.